Hey guys, it's Mark here from ETFtracker, and today we are taking a look at an Asian focused ETF, and that is CNEW, CNEW. So new, CNEW. So we're going to take a look at that on ETFtracker. So as you can see, the page here is the main etftracker.com.au page. We click on Access ETF Analytics, and we'll get the app come up. We'll actually go to full screen when that loads. Okay, so now we can go full screen. And jumping into the ETF snapshots, what you need to do is filter from where it defaults to, which is top of the list, A200. So we're looking at CNEW. So let's see what this one is all about, if you didn't already know. And so at a glance, we can see it's from VanEck, Asian equity in terms of the category that's provided by ASX and Chi-X, who come up with those categories. It's benchmarked to the CSI Market Greater China New Economy Aussie dollar, a dollar there, okay? And it's got 120 holdings. The description is CNEW gives investors a portfolio of fundamentally sound companies in China having growth prospects in sectors making up the new economy, namely technology, healthcare, consumer staples, and consumer discretionary. CNEW aims to provide investment returns before fees and other costs, which track the performance of the index. So it's passive tracking. Now we've got the other links here, so you can go directly to the VanEck page to see some more details about that. And there's also the Google Finance page. So if you wanted to see how Google, the latest prices are, then you can see that there and compare it to others. And it's got a really nice tool to do that. We're coming up with some MISCI ratings. We'll be adding that as well. That'll be a link to each of these ETFs if you wanted to see their ESG ratings, if that interests you. But for now, let's take a look at what the 6 tiles are telling us here. So first of all, with returns, it was flat on the month for August. So that was the latest data set that we've got. It was 0.34%, but cumulatively since the end of 2018, it is up 63%. Now, this is total monthly returns. And each month that the ASX and Chi-X come out with this, we just add all of those together to get the cumulative effect. Cumulative, I will get that right. We can see there in July, it was down -7%. And we all saw a lot of Asian equities do pretty poorly over that month, and some have bounced back and some are still on their way there. It's had some other negative months as well, but overall it has been improving, and 34 months of data is what we've got there. Its latest 1-year returns, however, as at August, are -12%. So you might be interested in that if you wanted to buy the dip, but look under the hood and see whether or not that is something you want to get into. In terms of net inflows, this is interesting. So it's kind of been flat. There's not really been anything going on for the past couple of months, and actually it's seen outflows there. So that is flat. So that's quite interesting. Usually we see inflows going up or down there for that one. Total net inflows based on the data that we've tracked is 142 million. Its total FUM is 159.1 million. You can see how that's grown there. So there's been some outflows which have taken away from that. And let's take a look at transactions. So despite all of those inflows and FUM kind of stagnating a little bit at the moment, have there been trades going on in transactions, which indicates that it's still moving around? And we can see that, yes, that is the case. Even though it's off its peak, the level that it's at now, so the number of trades was just over 1,000 in August. That's well above where it has been historically. So it is looking interesting there. We'll see how that goes. Transaction volumes, that was at 1.3 million in the latest month for August, but that's well off where it's seen previous peaks. Transaction value has come down as well. So it seems like people are just being cautious at the moment. So nearly 12 million there in terms of transaction value. Let's take a look at tradability. Okay. So it's abnormally high, quite high there in terms of its first month. We often see that the way that liquidity gets measured is quite high in the first month, and then it peters out. And so it's been at these levels here, a bit hard to see. We might see if we go full screen here. So we can see that 7.5%, 10.4, 5.1. So it's just under 10 in the last year or so. It was in the high teens and sometimes 20s before that. you do want to see something with a bit higher liquidity. There's a definitions page in ETFtracker so you can see what liquidity is all about. And this is good. We're seeing that spread has been getting lower there, and you want the spread to be lower because it means it's easier for buyers and sellers to meet in order to transact and make a trade. So that's all about tradability there. And then in terms of distribution yield, it's not very high. 1.1% was the latest. Its average over this period of time is 0.96%. But yeah, this is not necessarily an ETF that you're tracking for that distribution yield on that regular basis. It does have quite a high MER, so 0.95. When we consider that's nearly double the average of all of the ETFs that are in the industry, which is 0.52%. That's for the ASX and Chi-X ETFs. Now let's take a look at holdings. So we click on that arrow, we can see that there's 120 holdings. The average weight is 0.8% across those. The top 10 only make up 13.6%. So the average across all of the ASX and Chi-X for all of the ETF holdings that we are able to get data for, actually it's only really ASX because we don't really have Chi-X holdings data there because they're mostly active, but we will be looking to add those over time. But the average of the 180 plus that we get out of 200 plus is around 47%. So considering that this is 13.6%, that's well under. It looks like it's quite a diverse one. The biggest is, I'm not going to say this name right, so I'm not even going to try, Ultra Clean Technology. Then this industry technology company, another industrial development company, Ocean's King Lighting Science and Technology, I assume. Now, if you were interested in any of these companies, previous reviews we've done, we see Facebook, Microsoft, other companies that are well known. If you didn't know what these are, you can right click. There's an option to copy the value. If we hit escape here, then we can copy that in. And here we can see different links to what that holding is. Okay, so we can see here some more details from Reuters in this case, a little bit about it. So it's a China-based company principally engaged in the research, development, production, and sale of an anti-static ultra clean product. So that could be quite useful for anyone that is making kind of technology products. So yeah, that's very interesting there. And then you can do that same thing with all of these other companies if you're interested. They don't make up too much of a percentage though. So it's unlike, say, having, I guess, ATEC, for example, and Afterpay being a big component of that, nearly 20% or just over 20%. That would move that ETF if something were to happen to that company, positively or negatively. So in this case here, it's only 2% of that. So just be mindful of that. Take all of this with a grain of salt. Definitely do your own research. And if you are interested in more of this kind of analysis, please do comment, like, share, subscribe. Let us know. This is all available at etftracker.com.au. See you later.